I'm Everett Curdy, and I do videos about astrology, spirituality, and other topics. But a huge part of my channel is based off of videos on astrology and spirituality. And I do general astrology videos, but also forecasts. What's going on at the current time in the cosmic sky. And on January 21st, we have a new moon in Aquarius that will occur. And so this new moon is going to occur at 2:55 Central Time and 3:55 Eastern Standard Time at 1 degree of Aquarius, the first degree, because the sun goes around the whole zodiac in a year, and it takes about a month to travel through each sign. And so with every day, the sun's at 1 degree the first day, the second degree the second day, and so the sun and the moon meet up at 1 degree. So there's 29 degrees in an entire zodiac sign. And so we're starting off at the beginning, and new moons are a beginning. And we're moving into Aquarius season, the Aquarian energies. So it's a kickoff. It's a sort of leap or gradual step into initiation for Aquarius season. So find where 1 degree of Aquarius is in your own chart, and the house that's tied to that degree, because that life area, there could be some new beginnings and some fresh starts in that area of your life. And if you have any of the fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, on that degree, around that degree, particularly if you have, let's just look at your sun, moon, or your personal planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. If you have those planets, or the sun, moon being luminaries, and any of the fixed signs at that degree or around that degree, then this is the time to pay special extra attention and put more emphasis and focus on those areas. And so new moons are, new beginnings. It's time to go inside and reflect and manifest, to set those intentions and plant new seeds. It's the beginning of a brand new cycle. And so it's time to get things off the ground, or quietly step into what you want to begin, because it's a quiet sort of transition, and you're opening up the door to something new, and you're getting off the elevator to a floor that hopefully you want to get off of. So this new moon starts the cycle. The moon waxes, we get the full moon, the moon wanes, and then we get to the new moon. And in terms of the astrological seasons, like Aquarius season from January 20th through February 18th, it makes sense to start off with the new moon and then the full moon, which is, emotional release and things coming to the head and things coming to, surface, for things to be illuminated and released at the full moon later on in the astrological season. But, sometimes it's, the month or the season. Depends upon when the new moon starts, and then the full moon, when the new moon is, and then when the full moon is. Because sometimes you can start off a month, so January, February, March, etc., with the new moon and then the full moon, or you start off the month with the full moon. So like this month, we started January 6th with that full moon in Cancer, and then later on in the month, on the 21st of January, we have the new moon in Aquarius. So, yeah. So, but new moons and full moons, these lunations occur about from 14 to 16 days. It's not exactly 14 days, all around. Sometimes it's 15 days, sometimes it's 14 days, sometimes it's 16 days. But somewhere around there we have a lunation and a lunar event, which is either a full moon or new moon, or based off of where the nodes are transiting. If the sun and moon conjunct or oppose in those signs, then it would be considered eclipses. So a solar eclipse is when the sun and moon conjunct in the signs that the nodes are in. A lunar eclipse is when the sun and moon oppose. So that's like a full moon in the signs that the nodes are in. And those are karmic, fated times of change, transformation, and those are really profound times. But anyway, let's just back it up and let's focus on this new moon in Aquarius. So, with the new moon in Aquarius, Aquarius is about the future, particularly Mercury in Aquarius. Mercury is the mind and how you think and what you're thinking about, and Aquarius is the future, because it does not want to get so stuck in what is going on now. It's always about the next possibilities. Is that Ferris wheel going to go round and round and become more technologically advanced? What's across the bridge in San Francisco that I'm packing up all my luggages and heading in that direction? Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and that represents abrupt and sudden change and moving forward in new directions. Because Aquarius is the futurist, and a huge value of Aquarius, particularly if you have your sun or Aquarius and your moon in Aquarius, or personal planets in this sign, then you would be very concerned with the future of your life and the planet, and if there's any limitations in terms of structures, routines, life, jobs, career, all those life areas from the first house to the 12th house in astrology. What is going to be coming up in the future, and how do we want to revolutionize those areas? And so, and what do you want for your life? What are your dreams for what you want in your future life? Or not future life, but, because the future starts now. The rest of your life starts right now in the present moment, where you can make decisions and take action and, move your life in the direction that you wish to go in. And make a difference to yourself, help yourself, serve yourself, do something that, fulfills your soul, satisfies you, something that you want to do, and also serving others and humanity, because that's another Aquarian focus, is humanity. And Aquarius deals with the collective, so anything having to do with the recession, inflation, or climate crisis, or any kind of hot button issue is very concerning and valuable to Aquarius, and what action and changes need to be done in those areas. And so, are you being fully yourself? Are you embracing your authenticity, being the person that you want to be, not going along with the herd mentality, not following the group, not following others when it just does not feel authentic to you and what you want to do? Because Aquarius is a sign that lives on its own terms. It follows its own rhythm and walks its own path. And with the moon in Aries and the sun in Aquarius, it's the trailblazer combination. And, it's a question of, are you being true to yourself? And what parts of yourself that you may be ashamed of or embarrassed by, and may not want to show, that you may feel like you're not fitting in and not normal, but now it's time to come out and do what you want to do and live according to your own terms, and add your own piece of variety to the world. One of the mantras for Aquarius is I do it my way, and I encourage you to do it your way. So being yourself is really important. Finding your tribe, finding your community, finding a way to fit into your community, and what community is right for you, and where you can open up your ideas, interact with people, engage, debate this, negotiate this, and come up with some new solutions. Or just have a friendly conversation with getting to know somebody. And when we have those intellectual conversations, we open our minds. We can expand our perspectives, our knowledge base, and gain more wisdom. Aquarius is, I know, and it's the water bearer signs, is sort of pouring knowledge onto the people, and getting out of the box and not being so stuck in your own ways and what you know, but being willing to branch out and step into the unknown and get to see what somebody else thinks or says, or learn from them, or any means of communication, be it writing, speaking, reading books, watching documentaries, all those types of things really excite and get an Aquarius really enthusiastic and motivated. And I'm going to reference that again later on in this video. And again, Aquarius is the humanitarian sign. And with the moon in Aquarius, I think the moon in Aquarius, since the moon will be in Aquarius, it's a really interesting placement. It's actually fascinating because the moon wants to be so close and cuddly and tender and emotionally bonded. And Aquarius is very charitable, collective, global, let's pan out of many areas energy. Where it's about caring for a large number of people, but Moon in Aquarius is not favorable for one-on-one relationships because the walls, the blocks, the detachment will show up probably if you have the Moon in Aquarius, because the Moon is huge in compatibility, because it shows how you take care of others and what you need to feel emotionally comfortable and happy and at peace with. And depending upon the other elements in somebody's chart, say you have a lot of earth and fire, the moon in Aquarius is a detached placement. So water would balance it out. And it's interesting, as Aquarius is a air sign, but Aquarius, like aquarium, aquamarine, those kind of things, but it's perhaps the most or ultra detached placement of all of the air sign, of all the air signs, and that's what I'll say about that. But it's a good opportunity to be fulfilled by anything intellectual, and rising up into the emotions and putting them into objectivity, really analyzing them and seeing them from a broader perspective and seeing them for what they really are, and making changes in those areas and having the power to do things or say things or engage in things that change your emotions, and getting real with what you feel, knowing yourself, being honest with yourself, and not getting so caught up in the heaviness of the emotions. So it's a good opportunity and stepping stone to do that. So that is emotional detachment. And, with the new moon, even though it's quiet and going in, Aquarius is a sign that's either 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, or 11. So that would be the air or fire signs. And they're extroverted, they're masculine, they're outward energies. Let's go out and take advantage of life, meet new people, have new experiences. So it's a wonderful time to do those things during this new moon and around this time. Now, this video would not be complete without getting into aspects. And what is an aspect? It is basically a conversation or a transit between one planet or another and one luminary or another. And there's many kinds of conversations, and we can personify the planets and put human qualities to them. Because some conversations are very easygoing and casual and chill, some are deep or profound. Some are compromises and negotiations, and others are conflict, war, or a tug of war. And so that can be, sort of put into and as a metaphor for, the aspects. Because there's conjunctions, there's trines, there's sextiles, squares. But here we have the moon trining Mars. So, astrology lesson. Because Aquarius rules over astrology and is fascinated by astrology. And all things left brain, right brain. And, it also rules, details. Because, if I'm getting this right, it is quincunx to Virgo. And I believe that quincunxes are 5 signs apart. So you have Aquarius and Virgo quincunx. And Virgo is about details, getting up in the mind, analyzing things. And Aquarius really likes the data and the numbers and what is abstract. So, So, anyway, trines are when you have let's say in this case, Moon and Mars. The Moon will be in Aquarius, the Mars will be in Gemini. That's been going on since August 20th of last year. It'll continue until March 25 because of Mars's really difficult retrograde that we have just had or endured or came out of, which ended, the actual retrograde phase of Mars ended on January 12th. Now we can move forward and take action and get out there. And that's what we can do after the reflecting and revising that we have done over those several months that Mars was retrograde. So, the Moon will be in Aquarius, Mars will be in Gemini. These are both air signs, and they get along great. They're very, very comfortable with each other. In terms of signs, you cannot just take the sun sign alone or just pick out a piece of that puzzle, which is one sign out of that person's chart. That's one piece out of the whole puzzle of their chart. So, reminder there when looking at compatibility or an individual's horoscope. But anyway, the Moon will be in Aquarius, Mars will be in Gemini, and now it's time to, get out and communicate our ideas and go after what we want when it comes to anything intellectual. If we want, to write a book or make a speech or, make a video like I'm doing now, or just initiate something in those type of areas. Again, starting a new relationship is another example. And so with the Moon trine Mars, the Moon being how you emotionally feel, and Mars being the male energy, what gets you up in the morning. There's an astrologer that I was watching who defined Mars as the gas in your fuel tank. And what fuels you, what gets you going, your drive, motivation, assertion, and aggression. All those are Martian themes. And so with the Moon trine Mars, you could be feeling braver, more determined, more courageous to go after what you want, and the empowerment and the thrust of momentum and the energy to go after what you want. And put yourself out there and be yourself. And suddenly realize, wow, I had this great idea. I had this plan. I had this dream. Time to manifest it and see it through. Cross that golden ring in the sky as an end goal kind of thing. And we also had the Sun conjunct Pluto. Now this is exact on January 18th, but the energy will still be around at this time. So Sun conjunct Pluto. The Sun's your ego, how you put yourself out there, your life force. And Pluto is really how you take control, or take power, or what power dynamics are you sensitive to, or attuned to, based off of the side of Pluto, and how you it also deals with rebirth and transformation. And there's going to be those kind of prevalent themes with the Sun conjunct Pluto. And so the Sun's in Capricorn. At the end of Capricorn, 28 to 29 degrees of Capricorn, so those are anaretic degrees in astrology, and Pluto's at the end of Capricorn. This year, Pluto is going to cross the threshold in Aquarius for just 3 months, and in June, it'll move back into Capricorn until, next year it's going to go out of, Capricorn and Aquarius and back and forth, etc. I have a video on Pluto and Aquarius. You can check that out. And that will probably not be my only video that I'll make, just to let you know. Because it's such a huge, powerful, and long-term transit, which is Pluto and Aquarius. So the Sun conjunct Pluto is an invitation to empower yourself, to harness your own power, and to be, to direct your power in a positive way, to understand your power. But it can also lead to power struggles between other people, particularly, authority figures, because Capricorn rules authority, or governmental structures, top-down structures, the top, in mundane astrology terms. And it also deals with digging for the truth, finding what is true, uncovering someone's motives, digging up the secrets, being the detective, and, those themes are very Plutonic. And clearing up any kind of toxic pattern or, activity or addiction that you're currently doing. And also, digging deep into someone and who they truly are, and who they really are, and getting honest and intimate, and connecting in a very soulful and spiritual way with that person. Especially if it's, a friend or family or someone in your world very close to you, maybe even, living in the same house as you. It's time to, latch on and get loyal and fixed upon them in a positive way, because there's a downside to attachment as well. And be willing to transform any attachment that you're holding on to that's not serving you, and what you need to let go of in order to transform better, evolve your life, and again, move forward in those new directions. So there's certainly more I could get into with that, but that's just, sort of an overview of what that, what those energies are about. But I hope that you found this informative, insightful, and this is what is going to be happening on January 21st, the new moon in Aquarius. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in another video.